We are back at the Stronghold Games booth, and we're going to get a quick little overview from Mr. Lloyd Keller of Panamax. So, Lloyd?
Thank you, Joel. Panamax is the newest Euro that has just come out from Stronghold. It's got a very interesting mix of pickup and deliver. It has a little bit of a stock game going on. It's got some set collection, and it also includes a lot of competitive cooperativeness as players are trying to move each other's ships that might contain their own cargo back and forth across the Panama Canal. The three main actions that you get to take in this game include loading cargo from contract cards onto your ships. Now, the die values are going to be determined by the contract cards that you pick up. This particular card is coming from the EU and has a value of 2 for one die and 4 for one die and 2 for another. When you successfully complete this contract and load these 2 crates onto ships, the EU is going to give you a bonus token that's going to go on your player map. This will cover up spots that might give you more stock options, give you additional load actions, or give you additional movement based on where it lands. The second thing you get to do is move your ships through the waterway. And that can happen in a mixture of locks and waterways through the Panama Canal.
And you immediately go there. Yeah.
The final thing that you get to do is influence your stock in some manner. The stock that's off to the side can rise by 2 points for your company when you choose the stock action, or you can purchase stock for the current price for any company that's on the board, letting you buy other players' stock. At the end of the round, the companies will pay dividends to all players that own portions of their stock. During the game, you're going to be sending your ships in one direction or another through the Panama Canal. When a ship exits out of the Panama Canal, it pays to its company the sum of all the pips on the dice. If multiple players have dice on the same ship, all of those players' companies will get paid out. The owner of a particular ship will also get a bonus card based on the size of the ship. You have passenger ships which will deliver to you passenger tokens, and these tokens have a value ranging of 1 to 4 that gets paid to your company. These tokens, just like the flags, will in some way give you a bonus to your company, whether it's additional load actions, additional choices of contracts, or just cutting down on prices during the game. Last but not least, you do have 1 warship for each country. 1 Chinese, 1 Western United States, 1 Eastern United States, and 1 for the European Alliance. When you move any of those warships, they award the player that moves them money equal to the number of flags you've already acquired of that particular ship. The game lasts in a 4-player game for 3 rounds, and each player gets 4 actions per round. So this is a pretty lengthy Euro, even though you only have 12 actions. Those actions are pretty cool though, because as the synergies build between characters and you're sharing movement with someone that might be using your own ship, or as you cover up spots on your player board, those 12 actions end up being a lot more.
Okay. So, how does a basic kind of round work out? You roll these dice here in the middle, and then they kind of dictate what happens with the contracts?
Sure. The initial setup you have for 4 players, you roll 12 of the white dice, and based on the numbers, they're going to go somewhere into the middle of the action track. If you ever have too many of one number, you roll it like a slingshot, either down if it's a high number, or up if it's a lower number, to the next spot. And then you have 4 special dice called executive actions that will go at the top of 4 out of the 6 columns.
All right. And then once you choose the contracts, what happens after that?
As one of your load actions.
Once you choose a contract, this one? So again, once you choose a contract, you're going to see what you're going to be loading, but you'll also be uncovering somewhere on the main board a number of spaces to actually take those dice and move them onto ships, or possibly even onto the railroad.
Okay.
At the lowest possible column, you might only be loading one of those dice. If you have the entire column already free, you can load up to 3 dice, even from multiple contracts if you had ones left over from a previous round.
Okay. So where are the ships that you get? You start out with 1 or 2 ships, and then you get more ships?
Yes, your company starts off with a size 1 ship already on the board with some cargo on it traveling through.
Size 1 ship.
And you also have a size 2 ship that's already been built by your company, and it just sits off to the side of your player board ready to be sent up.
And there's a size 2 ship over there.
Yep. On the player board, your company has an additional size 1 ship that it could buy and build, and a size 3 ship that it can buy and build, which has the biggest capacity, obviously, for your company.
Okay. And then how do these little bonus actions work here?
Well, the bonus actions work every time your company does business and completes a contract card for a certain company, or I'm sorry, a certain country. They award you with a token of their flag. The first token you get has to go in the first spot available. Sometimes it gives you a bonus, sometimes it doesn't. But then additional ones after that either award you more stock options, sometimes bonus movement that's a wild movement and you use it immediately, or additional load actions like onto a ship or additional load onto the train. Once you've dealt with every country, you get a reduction to 0 of some of your costs in the game. You can always have more than 3 flags of each country, but they would just stack on top of one another, and you've kind of lost those bonuses underneath at that point because they've already been covered. The only reason that would be important is some of the end game bonus cards you get will award you extra money at the end for specializing in one country. If this player has the EU bonus card, 1 EU token at the end of the game gets him $1. 2 EU tokens at the end of the game is 2 apiece, and 3 or more will be 3 apiece. So you get a really nice big payout from some of those bonus cards at the end of the game.
So I notice here in the middle, when you have the little contract selection area, there's also some movement icons there. So does that kind of dictate, you know, I choose this contract, but I get so much movement based on that one big choice?
No. Whenever you take an action from the center, you are either taking a load action for the cargo, or you get to take a movement action with one of the movement dice. You never get to do 2 of them unless you end up covering up one of those bonuses on your board, and that's a free action that happens as soon as you cover it. So if he completes another EU contract with a contract action, he'll cover that space up and immediately get to do that move action. So you get a lot of great synergies in this game as you get into the 2nd and 3rd rounds.
Gotcha. And then these will bump each other, so if they're next to each other, like this boat will push the boat in front of it and so on.
Yes, right now, if you want to look at this spot right here, this lock is completely filled. And even if the red player has no lock movements left, he could send the USS Iowa and bump all of those ships through by paying the water movement for the USS Iowa and shoving everything in front of it.
Gotcha. And so they're trying to make their way all the way over there, right?
Yes, you enter from 2 opposite sides. This is the Atlantic Ocean, that's the Pacific, and they're traveling in opposite directions.
Gotcha.
There's a payout into the ocean here and another one at the far end.
Okay. And then winner is most money?
Winner is the most player money. Your company can have as much money as it wants, but the player money is what wins you. There is one awesome card that's a bonus card at the end. We call it the embezzlement card, because after your company pays all of its fees, all of its dividends, the player with the embezzlement card gets all their company's money that's left over off of that player board.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lloyd. Appreciate that.
Thank you.